Diesel motorhome sales are abruptly ending in 6 states, and gas motorhomes are likely next. I'm Jason Epperson. This is RV Miles. Yikes. Okay, big news out of California. A clarification in a ruling from the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, has essentially halted large diesel motorhome sales in 6 states. I'm late to the game in getting this news. I don't have the full picture on how all this is working, but I'm going to do my best. I wanted to get this out to you as soon as possible. I want to get deep into this, so I'm going to just do this right now. First off, this episode is sponsored by our friends over at RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. If you are buying an RV, one of the best things you can do to upgrade your RV is to get a new mattress for it. RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding sells real mattresses made by a real mattress company that are toxin-free and shipped to you from their factory in Arizona, wherever you are. You just open them up and let them expand on the platform in your RV. They are fantastic. We have them in both of our RVs and our home as well. And if you're unsure if you'll be satisfied, they have a 120-night sleep trial to make sure that you are. If you head over to rvmattress.com/RV Miles, you can get 30% off your next mattress today over at rvmattress.com/RV Miles to get 30% off today. You spend a lot of money on your RV. You spend a third of your vacation sleeping. Don't waste it on a terrible sleep. Get a new mattress from rvmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. Okay, the Advanced Clean Trucks Regulation, or ACT, was implemented back in 2020, and it's a zero-emission vehicle sales requirement for manufacturers in California. Zero-emission vehicle being battery electric vehicles. It's an incremental program that requires a vehicle manufacturer to sell a certain percentage of ZEV, zero-emission vehicles, at various milestones, so that percentage keeps going up. And this regulation focuses on zero-emission medium and heavy-duty vehicles from Class 2B to Class 8. Class 2B is essentially a 3/4-ton truck, like an F-250. Manufacturers are required to sell zero-emission trucks as an increasing percentage of their annual California sales between 2024 and 2035. By 2035, zero-emission truck chassis sales would need to be 55% of those Class 2B to 3 trucks, so 3/4 and 1-ton trucks, 75% of straight trucks, and 40% of truck tractor sales. So don't get bogged down into the details of that too much, but believe it or not, vehicle manufacturers have been well ahead of schedule and have been able to largely follow this regulation. But something happened on October 24th, something which I'm sorry, I'm just not totally clear on. Maybe somebody watching can shed a little more light on it, but CARB clarified this rule for 2025. And to my understanding, they actually loosened the requirements a bit, but somehow that rule clarification has major motorhome chassis makers stopping shipments of chassis to motorhome manufacturers like Newmar. Newmar VP of Sales Matt Ellinger sent the following letter to Newmar dealers in California and these other states. Last week, the California Air Resources Board passed an amended regulation regarding internal combustion engines that will restrict the registration of motorhomes in the following 6 states: California, Oregon, Washington, New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. This regulation is known as the Advanced Clean Truck Regulation, or ACT. ACT requires that chassis manufacturers electrify new vehicles greater than 8,500 pounds GVWR according to a defined schedule, and provides for a credit system for zero-emission vehicles produced in other categories. Large Class A and Super C chassis manufacturers are generally subject to a requirement that 11% of their new vehicles in each of the 6 states be electric in 2025, which they will be unable to meet. We made efforts to advocate for an RV exemption during the approval hearing and emphasize the impact to our industry and your dealerships, but we were not successful. The purpose of my letter is to explain the impact this will have on your business with Newmar. We have significant risk to our collective businesses as we anticipate that we will be unable to deliver Class A diesel and Super C products based on Freightliner and Spartan chassis that will be consumer registered in the states of California, Washington, Oregon, Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey, with a chassis built after January 1st, 2025, roughly February 28th offline. So they have some of these chassis already. They can sell those, but the stuff coming after February 28th will be on the new chassis. While we have been following the CARB Act, the current state of utilizing credits have been anticipated to meet our needs. This has been determined to be a false assumption based on information shared with us by Freightliner the week of September 30th in a meeting with our Newmar team. Freightliner advised that they will not be able to provide us with chassis that will be certified to be registered by a consumer into California, Washington, Oregon, Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey as of January 1st, 2025. Spartan has also advised us that, like Freightliner, they will not be able to provide us with chassis that can be registered into those states. Ford has implied confirmation that the F53 chassis will be available for California and the other listed states as they have access to credits from their EV production. As a result of this legislation, Newmar's final purchase of chassis that will be approved to sell into all states except for California will be November 4th. That's today, as I'm recording this. If your business has any intention on selling Newmar branded motorhomes to customers who will register in Oregon, Washington, New York, New Jersey, or Massachusetts, you'll need to order your specific model and chassis the week of October 28th for Spartan, November 4th for Freightliner. So by the end of this week, they have to have those orders in. If you're looking to order one, you better run there now. I hope you're not making a multi-$100,000 motorhome decision that fast, though. Current Newmar chassis inventory, along with 2023, 24, and 25 model year units in inventory, are approved under ACT. Again, the purpose of this letter is to inform you of what we know about this difficult situation revolving around ACT. This is an ever-changing landscape, and we will continue to monitor this situation. So it sounds like because Ford has a broader footprint and they sell other vehicles, they sell lots of EVs, they have the Lightning pickup truck, they have access to these credits. But Freightliner and Spartan will not, or at least they would have to purchase the credits at an unsustainable cost. And furthermore, it sounds like Freightliner and Spartan may have thought they were going to be okay going into 2025, or at least had led Newmar to believe so, but now we're not. I think what happened at this CARB meeting a few days ago was that there was a hope that some of these rules would be softened. And apparently they were, but not in a way that is really beneficial to RV manufacturers. The amendments give secondary vehicle manufacturers, like RV manufacturers, the option to trade, sell, or transfer credits with other manufacturers, but that apparently didn't go far enough to make it feasible for companies like Spartan and Freightliner. Spartan and Freightliner are basically all the big Class A diesel motorhome chassis. And as you heard in the letter, this motorhome sale halt has already begun. As of today, Newmar basically isn't taking 2025 orders from dealers in those 6 states. If it's already on a lot, you can buy it, but dealers apparently aren't able to place orders from Newmar, or presumably will they be able to with any other motorhome manufacturer unless it's on the Ford F53 chassis, which is a gasoline chassis, by the way, it's not diesel. So we're talking about Tiffin, Integra, Winnebago, Fleetwood, all of them. But why isn't it just California? Well, those other states have all passed legislation to essentially adopt this CARB rule. That said, there may be some leeway in some of those states. I don't have total clarity over that. Now, I did reach out to Newmar, Spartan, and Freightliner for comment. I haven't heard back. In all fairness, I was only able to give them a couple hours notice, but I was able to get a statement from the RV Industry Association, who said they've been working on this for over a year now in an effort to secure an exemption or other solution to allow diesel motorhomes to continue to be sold and registered in California, and gas motorhomes as well, actually. They sent me a copy of the commentary they provided to CARB last month, which says, quote, "Unfortunately, the ACT regulation will likely have the very real result that no motorhomes will be able to be sold or registered in California. Our member motorhome manufacturers have been told by their chassis suppliers that while there are currently several zero-emission chassis for most medium and heavy-duty trucks, there are no fully electric chassis rated for motorhome application. These suppliers have no zero-emission chassis products to offer for sale to offset internal combustion engine sales. Thus, the only way these suppliers feel they can meet the ACT requirement on motorhomes is to not sell into the 6 ACT states starting in 2025. And as of now, the chassis suppliers have indicated that there is no change in sight for future years as well. The vast majority of motorhomes are driven very few miles in a given year, according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, in its 2016 Greenhouse Gas Regulation Preamble. Additionally, the EPA reiterated that motorhomes are not suitable vehicle applications for EV technology due to the projected impact of the weight of the EV batteries. For this reason, the EPA categorizes motorhomes as custom vocational vehicles. The RV industry is continuing its efforts to develop viable zero-emission vehicles. However, such vehicles are still years away, and at present there is no commercially available mass-produced ZEV motorhome in California or any other market. Thus, we are asking CARB to exempt motorhomes from the Act regulation, as is currently the case with emergency vehicles, or at least defer compliance for motorhomes until such time that ZEV chassis for the motorhome market are readily available and desired by consumers. This would allow RV manufacturers, RV dealers, and consumers alike to avoid the loss of the entire motorhome industry in the state while having minimal impact on the California environment. It would also prevent an economic loss of several hundred millions of dollars for California RV dealers alone and for motorhome manufacturers, some of which are based in California. In 2023, motorhome manufacturers shipped a total of 5,898 motorhomes to California, as compared with the 134,956 medium and heavy-duty trucks and tractors sold in California last year. RVIA continues to believe that the best way to provide business certainty to motorhome manufacturers would be to exempt motorhomes from the Act regulation, or at least defer compliance for motorhomes until such time as ZEV chassis for the motorhome market are available and desired by consumers. So, this has really all come to a head in the last few days, and I've seen a flurry of stuff on message boards and in Facebook groups. A couple things for some of you that might go down the rabbit hole with this. You're going to find some language out there that says these CARB rules don't apply to motorhomes. That's not the case. That's an entirely different rule that people are pulling that text from. Can you purchase an RV in a different state and bring it back and register it? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe for the time being, as long as it's California compliant. I'm thinking that that's going to be different in each of these 6 states, but that's going to start to get stricter too. There's also this idea that you should do the whole shell company LLC thing in Montana, where you essentially buy a motorhome tax-free under a business name. Lots of states have been cracking down on that as tax evasion, and I don't recommend it. Tread very carefully if that's a route you're intending on going down. I do think at some point there may be some relaxing of this, and it certainly isn't over. So if you're in one of those states and you feel strongly about this, you should contact your state representative with any thoughts you might have. I should also say that Vermont has adopted the Advanced Clean Truck Rule for 2026 and Colorado for 2027. And Connecticut, New Mexico, Rhode Island, and Maryland are in various stages of potentially adopting it for 2027. So this is a big thing. I don't know what's going to happen here. There's clearly going to be a time period here of challenges. Even if this gets walked back, I don't know what's going to happen. It's a wild time. Normally in the past, when there have been rules about emissions in vehicles, they tend to be very difficult to meet. And then they get walked back as technology doesn't make it there. But that sort of environment had pushed the manufacturers over that time. So I kind of get why the states do it. And it seems like that's actually the case here, because the truck manufacturers have largely been able to comply. But motorhomes being such a niche market, it's very possible that in this environment that the RV industry might be sort of treated like an innocent bystander here and might really get hit with this. So I'll be watching this closely. I'll be following up. If I get any information, if I hear back from some of these companies in the next few days, I'll put it in the next news roundup, or I'll talk about it on the podcast. But I wanted to get this information out as soon as possible. I mean, seriously, if you had been planning to buy a big diesel motorhome in the coming weeks, do it before the end of the year. It's really weird to be standing here saying this right now. I first thought this was fake when it came to me, but it's happening, and it's a big deal. So I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. If you got something out of this video, hit the like button. If you want more like it, subscribe. Thanks so much for supporting us in all we do here We appreciate you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.